Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, in this episode, I want to talk about inflammatory foods that you should consider avoiding if you either have arthritis or are at risk of arthritis. Okay, because keep in mind, and I've said this many times, you are what you eat, and it's not something that I made up myself, but it is a reality. You know, what you're putting in your mouth will display itself from a beneficial perspective or just a negative, degenerative perspective over time in your body. So, eating healthy is super important, not only for nourishing qi and blood, but yin and yang as well, your body's essence, body fluids, and more. All right, and if acupuncture was a regular part of your life, you'd be fully aware of this. You definitely would be fully aware of this. I mean, there's so many benefits to making acupuncture part of your life. But just back to the subject at hand, you know, many individuals seek acupuncture to treat arthritis because arthritis is a very painful, degenerative disorder. And then once diagnosed with it, to live with it for the rest of your life can be very stressful. I mean, it just adds like another block on what you may already be faced with that just from a health perspective isn't good. You know, but again, I mean, there's so many individuals that have made acupuncture part of their life that life just seems so much easier. And that's just, I know it's a broad statement in and of itself, but when you're not walking around constantly worried about your health, your life changes for the better. Okay? And albeit, as they say, there's no known cure for arthritis, the closest thing to a cure is acupuncture, in my professional opinion. You know, and diet through an Eastern nutrition consultation session with your acupuncturist can definitely improve symptoms of joint pain and swelling, as well as if you haven't been diagnosed with arthritis, it can lower your risk of developing arthritis. That being acupuncture and proper diet. But I want to discuss some inflammatory foods that can trigger symptoms of arthritis. And some are certain types of meats like hot dogs, which I know many individuals love barbecuing, pepperoni, bacon. Those particular types of foods can increase inflammation. I don't even really want to say can. It does increase inflammation. And it'll worsen arthritic symptoms if you've already been diagnosed with arthritis. Keep in mind, now when I say red meat, see, red meats are higher in fat, especially saturated fat, which increases levels of inflammation. And as I understood by an acupuncturist, it increases stagnation throughout many areas of their body. So when the flow of qi is impeded, relative to a particular channel, there's pain. And then blood eventually becomes static. And then there's more pain. Because chi moves blood. Chi being synonymous with energy. Blood just doesn't move by itself. I mean, blood is yin in nature. It's there. It has substance. And chi is yang in nature, which represents energy to some extent, to move things, to provide change, to facilitate change. So it's your chi that's moving your blood. And then when chi becomes stagnant, what happens to blood? You have to think about that. And when you're becoming internally inflamed to a great extent by eating foods that are bad for you, you're now affecting both the spleen and stomach organs within the body that's responsible or plays a huge part in the production of chi and blood in and of itself. Now, when the chi of the spleen and both yin and yang of the spleen are affected, there's a creation of phlegm and internal dampness and more stagnation, more issues with digestion. So the types of foods that you eat is very, very important for your overall health, which many of you know that's just basic common sense. But I'm almost afraid to say that it's basic common sense that more and more people today are lacking. Because some of the things that I see as I walk past outdoor restaurants, or I see what individuals are putting in their shopping cart, these colorful foods. And, just being a board certified doctor of acupuncture, there's so much that I'm aware of at this stage of the game in my life, whereas I look at the individual and I'm like, oh, do you even have any idea as to the potential problems you'll be creating or are creating for yourself by eating that garbage? But I don't want to stray. Another food source is gluten, okay, which can play a major role in painful joints and inflaming your joints. And it doesn't matter if you have celiac disease or not. And I've heard that. Well, I don't have celiac disease. No, that doesn't matter. Individuals with celiac disease tend to be more prone to rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, keep that in mind. But you really can't go wrong with a gluten-free diet, but you have to be careful. And this is where sitting with an acupuncturist is important, because gluten does have its beneficial aspects up to it. Because I've noticed so many people have vilified gluten, like, oh my gosh, it's like almost eating gunpowder or something. No. And I should do a separate episode discussing the benefits of gluten that many individuals are unaware of. But it is known that gluten-free diet can ease arthritis symptoms as well as reduce inflammation. So just keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that health is wealth. Because the wealth is not in your bank account or in your wallet or your purse or your pocket. The wealth is not under your mattress or in a shoebox in your closet. The wealth is in you. That's where the wealth is. So again, you are what you eat. But consuming foods that are high in salt, it's loaded, basically, I should say, with sodium. I'm not going to vilify salt, more so sea salt, pink Himalayan salt. These are good forms of salt that the body needs, benefits from. Now, your average white table salt, do your research on it, because most of them are not good. But you want to be careful when it comes to consuming high amounts of sodium now, because consuming high amounts of sodium can put individuals at a higher risk of developing autoimmune diseases, especially inflammatory arthritis. And foods that tend to be high in sodium are usually like fast foods. I mean, please find a time to cook your own food. And if you can't, just grab some fruits, some vegetables that you can just simply clean and eat right away, like carrots and more. Try and avoid fast food. Pizza, burgers, fries. And then also frozen dinners. And I know a lot of you work, and when you get home, you don't really have the patience to cook. Sometimes a nice bowl of chicken soup or something that you can cook on a Sunday. Tons of vegetables, other ingredients that, as the days go by, the value of that soup increases and you just have to warm it back up. Healthy, simple dinners, not frozen dinners. Something you pop in the microwave. Because all you're doing is eating a filler that's bad for you in the long run. And you also want to stay away from deli meats. Because some will say, well, I'll just go make a quick sandwich. Not. Try and avoid deli meats. Try and avoid condiments. Try and avoid salad dressings. Okay? And keep in mind, too much sodium consumption is problematic. Increases inflammation and increases your risk of developing rheumatoid arthritis. And speaking of salt, let's even talk about sugars. Cane sugar's good. But just these bags of sugar, no. Even added sugar that you'll find in sodas. And stay away from diet soda. At all costs, stay away from it. But you can find added sugars in soda, candy, pastries, desserts, which can worsen symptoms of arthritis. And there have been some surveys that even noted sugar as being a top trigger for symptoms of arthritis. Why? Because a lot of sugar tends to cause your body to produce more cytokines, which tend to be which actually are inflammatory proteins. And if you've already been diagnosed with arthritis, you already have high levels of cytokines. So increasing inflammation can make things worse. So try and avoid drinking sugar-sweetened beverages such as energy drinks, soda. And a lot of you tend to get mad at me when I talk bad about energy drinks, but yeah, you should avoid that. I mean, because if you're chi deficient, whereas your energy appears as low and sluggish, you should get your ass into an acupuncturist right away. Stop looking to suck down sugar to get you going for a few minutes or an hour, and then you crash again. You want to see an acupuncturist to rectify that problem. To get you going on the right foot where you wouldn't be crashing an hour later. But another form of food to look to avoid is just in general highly processed foods, period. Breakfast cereals, baked goods, because they tend to be high in refined grains, along with added sugars, preservatives, fructose, as well as many other inflammatory ingredients, which tend to worsen arthritis symptoms. Because highly processed, or I like to say ultra processed foods, tend to contain like huge amounts of dietary advanced glycation end products, which are long for AGEs, because they tend to cause oxidative stress in the body, which results in higher inflammation. In highly processed foods, like I said, breakfast cereals, baked goods, American cheese, mayonnaise, not good. Not good at all. And I even go over this on the Acupuncture is My Life TikTok channel. So if in any way you want to visualize what I'm discussing, just follow Acupuncture is My Life on TikTok. And make acupuncture part of your life, okay? Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?